In the shadowy world of intelligence filled with secrets and conspiracies, few names have sparked as much shock and controversy as Anthony Blunt. Not only was he an MI5 intelligence officer, but he was also a member of the Cambridge Five, a sophisticated espionage network working for the Soviet Union. However, the extent of Blunt's betrayal may go even further. He is considered one of the most dangerous double agents in history, a man who may have betrayed secrets to both the Soviets and Nazi Germany, causing catastrophic losses during World War II. Blunt's story is not just one of personal betrayal, but also exposes the deadly flaws in Britain's security system and the misplaced trust of its elite class. Born in 1907 in Bournemouth, England, Blunt grew up in a family with deep ties to royalty and the aristocracy. His father was a vicar, and his mother was a distant relative of the Queen Mother. This background shaped his future career, allowing him to easily infiltrate the highest circles of British power. Blunt's intellectual brilliance shone early during his time at Cambridge University, where he switched from studying mathematics to modern languages, graduating with a first-class degree. At Cambridge, Blunt was drawn into a world of radical ideas. He joined the secretive Apostles' Society, where leading intellectuals debated politics and philosophy. It was here that he first encountered communism, an ideology seen as a solution to the global economic crisis and the rise of fascism in Europe. Simultaneously, his open homosexuality in a society that condemned it fueled an underlying rebellion against the system and its moral norms. The combination of communist ideology and personal discontent made him an ideal target for Soviet intelligence recruitment. Blunt not only became a spy, but also a brilliant talent spotter tasked with identifying talented Cambridge students to serve Soviet interests. He directly recruited or introduced figures who later became legendary spies such as Kim Philby, Guy Burgess, Donald MacLean, and John Cairncross, forming the notorious Cambridge Five. This group, composed of individuals from the upper echelons of society with key positions in government and intelligence agencies, demonstrated Blunt's cunning and influence from the outset. To understand why Anthony Blunt, a man from Britain's elite, became one of history's most dangerous traitors, we must delve into his childhood and ideological formation. Born in 1907 in Bournemouth, Blunt grew up in a family closely tied to the aristocracy and royalty. His father was a vicar, and his mother's distant connection to the Queen Mother facilitated his entry into powerful circles later in life. The traditional, somewhat conservative family environment clashed with his independent and rebellious nature. Blunt's academic foundation was a key factor in shaping his path. After attending the prestigious Marlborough College, he continued his education at Cambridge University. Initially studying mathematics, he later switched to modern languages, a decision reflecting a shift from rigid logic to a field requiring creativity and sensitivity. Graduating with distinction, he became an influential intellectual in academic circles. At Cambridge, Blunt was exposed to fresh radical ideas through the Apostles' Society. This was not only a hub for intellectual exchange, but also an ideal environment for like-minded young people to connect. The Great Depression of 1929 devastated the global economy, fostering deep discontent with capitalism. The rise of fascism in Germany and Italy led intellectuals like Blunt to believe communism was the only solution to combat violence, injustice, and ensure a better world. A personal factor also played a significant role in fueling Blunt's rebellion: his homosexuality. At the time, homosexuality was illegal, and heavily stigmatized in British society. This reality created a profound discontent with the moral standards and social system he was born into. His desire to defy these constraints, combined with his belief in communist ideals, made him a perfect target for Soviet recruitment. Blunt not only embraced this ideology, but sought to dismantle the rules of a society that he felt had rejected him. These factors created a complex, conflicted individual ready to embark on a path of espionage, betraying his homeland for personal convictions. Recruitment and espionage, a double life and crimes. Anthony Blunt's transformation from a rebellious intellectual to a notorious spy began in the 1930s, a turbulent period in European politics. Around 1933-1934, he was approached and recruited by Theodore Maly, a seasoned Polish officer of the Soviet NKVD. Maly recognized Blunt's potential not only as a spy, but as an ideal talent spotter. As an influential Cambridge scholar, Blunt became a key asset for the NKVD tasked with identifying and recruiting talented radical students to build a long-term espionage network. Blunt excelled in this role. He directly recruited Guy Burgess and John Cairncross and introduced Kim Philby and Donald MacLean to Soviet handlers. Together with himself, they formed the Cambridge Five, the most sophisticated and dangerous espionage network in British history. Comprising individuals from the upper class with key roles in government and intelligence, this group supplied the Soviets with classified information for decades, severely damaging British national security. When World War II broke out, Blunt leveraged his intellectual persona to join MI5, Britain's domestic security agency, in 1940. Initially working in military security, his talent and cunning quickly led to a promotion to counterintelligence, a highly sensitive and powerful position. One of his key projects was Triplex, overseeing the censorship and analysis of diplomatic correspondence. This role gave him access to top-secret information from embassies and government agencies, which he copied and passed to the Soviets. Throughout the war, Blunt supplied a vast array of critical documents. Most notably, he accessed information from the Ultra Code-Breaking Project, which deciphered Nazi Germany's encrypted communications. This intelligence, including strategic plans and military positions, was invaluable. Blunt is also known to have leaked details about the Normandy invasion plans to the Soviets, a grave act of betrayal that could have jeopardized the entire European liberation campaign. According to later declassified records, Blunt provided the Soviets with 1,771 classified documents between 1941 and 1945. However, Blunt's story doesn't end with Soviet espionage. Investigative journalist Robert Verkuyke's book proposes a shocking hypothesis. Blunt may have been Agent Josephine, a double agent working for Nazi Germany. According to this theory, he may have supplied intelligence about Operation Market Garden, a bold Allied campaign to seize strategic bridges in the Netherlands. Based on leaked information, the Germans reinforced their defenses, leading to the catastrophic failure at Arnhem. Blunt's role at MI5, where he was tasked with investigating intelligence leaks, further fuels suspicion that he manipulated investigations to conceal his own crimes. Blunt's duplicity wasn't limited to leaking information, but extended to his ability to manipulate and cover his tracks. Operating as a Soviet spy and possibly a Nazi agent, he epitomized a traitor without principles. His espionage not only harmed British national security, but also impacted the outcome of World War II and the subsequent Cold War. This story reveals how a spy could evade detection and live a double life, exploiting the trust of those around him despite devastating consequences. Post-war career and cover-up. A life of deception. After World War II, as the world sought to heal its wounds, Anthony Blunt deftly transitioned to a new life, concealing his criminal past behind a facade of prestige and respectability. This period marks the most remarkable phase of his life, as he became a revered figure in academia and even within the British royal family, all while hiding his espionage. Academic and royal career post-war. Blunt returned to academia, quickly establishing himself as a leading art historian. He was appointed director of the Courtauld Institute, one of the world's most prestigious centers for art history research. With his vast knowledge and reputation, Blunt played a pivotal role in shaping the field in Britain. The pinnacle of his career was his close relationship with the British royal family. In 1945, he was appointed Surveyor of the King's Pictures, a prestigious and powerful role. This position not only solidified his reputation, but also granted him access to royal secrets. In 1956, in recognition of his contributions to art, he was knighted with the Royal Victorian Order, KCVO, conferred by Queen Elizabeth II. Henceforth known as Sir Anthony Blunt, he became a symbol of refinement and loyalty, starkly contrasting his true nature. Secret mission and cover-up. Even after the war, Blunt's espionage activities continued. In 1945, the royal family entrusted him with a highly sensitive mission to travel to Germany to retrieve private letters of the Duke of Windsor, former King Edward VIII, who had abdicated. These letters reportedly contained evidence of the former king's sympathy for Nazi Germany. This top-secret mission aimed to protect the honor and reputation of the royal family. However, instead of merely fulfilling the task, declassified documents later revealed that Blunt photographed the letters and sent copies to the Soviets, an act of ultimate betrayal. This not only violated the royal family's trust, but demonstrated his willingness to exploit every opportunity to supply information to the Soviets, regardless of his initial objectives. Blunt's cover-up spanned decades. In 1951, when his Cambridge Five colleagues Guy Burgess and Donald MacLean prepared to defect to the Soviet Union, Blunt aided their escape and destroyed evidence that could link him to the network. He declined a Soviet offer to defect, choosing to stay in Britain. His reasoning was to continue supplying information to the Soviets from within a position where he could inflict greater damage than from abroad. Over the years, Blunt endured at least 11 rigorous interrogations by MI5 and MI6. With remarkable intelligence and emotional control, he denied all accusations, deceiving investigators and concealing his true identity. His determination allowed him to maintain his double life for 13 years, until he was exposed by a former colleague, Michael Straight, in 1964. Blunt's double life is a testament to how dangerous an internal spy can be, exploiting the trust of those around him despite catastrophic consequences. Exposure and consequences. The fall of a legend. Anthony Blunt's double life finally unraveled. After decades of evasion, his secrets were exposed, triggering one of the most shocking espionage scandals in British history. Revelation and secret deal. In 1964, Blunt's espionage career ended when Michael Straight, an American he had recruited at Cambridge, confessed to the FBI that Blunt had enlisted him. Straight, under consideration for a high-level U.S. government position, was compelled to reveal his past and named Blunt. This information was swiftly relayed to MI5. Faced with undeniable evidence, Blunt confessed fully to the security services. However, instead of prosecution, he secured a secret deal with the British government. In exchange for providing comprehensive details about his espionage network, he was granted immunity. The reason was to avoid a public scandal, protect the reputation of the elite, and particularly the royal family, where Blunt still worked. The government kept this secret, allowing Blunt to continue his normal life for another 15 years. During this time, he retained his academic positions and even his royal connections, while his shocking secret was known only to a select few in the government. Public exposure and downfall. The secret was finally exposed in 1979. At that time, a journalist uncovered clues about a covert deal with a high-level spy. Fearing a larger scandal if the information leaked, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher made a bold decision. She publicly revealed Blunt's identity in the House of Commons on November 15, 1979, shocking Britain and the world. She declared he confessed to the security services in 1964 that he was a Soviet spy. The public reaction was one of profound shock. Blunt, revered in the art world and knighted, instantly became a traitor. He was immediately stripped of his knighthood, a public humiliation unprecedented in scale. He also lost his academic and royal positions, becoming a social pariah. The reputation and legacy he had built over decades collapsed overnight. Reaction and legacy. In a rare 1979 interview, Blunt attempted to justify his actions. He claimed he spied not for money or power, but because he believed communism was the only force capable of opposing fascism in the 1930s. He insisted his actions were principled and expressed no regret. However, these justifications could not erase the fact that he betrayed national secrets and caused severe damage to Britain's security. Anthony Blunt died in 1983, taking many secrets to his grave. His legacy remains a subject of controversy. His story severely damaged the reputation of British intelligence, exposing critical flaws in recruitment and oversight. It also serves as a reminder that even the most esteemed and educated individuals can be corrupted by ideology or personal discontent. Blunt became a symbol of betrayal, a cautionary tale about loyalty and the consequences of deceit. Lasting impact on national security. Blunt's espionage career inflicted severe and lasting damage to British national security. His transmission of thousands of classified documents to the Soviets during and after World War II affected Britain's military and diplomatic strategies, potentially altering the outcome of key battles. The suspicion that he also worked for Nazi Germany heightens the gravity of his crimes, suggesting he was willing to betray anyone to serve his own ends. The Blunt affair exposed fatal flaws in the recruitment and oversight of British intelligence personnel. That a radical communist could infiltrate MI5 and even work for the royal family revealed deficiencies in background checks and internal monitoring. The blind trust in aristocratic backgrounds and prestigious education became a critical vulnerability exploited by foreign intelligence agencies. Blunt's story offers costly lessons on multiple fronts. First, it highlights the inherent danger of internal spies. An enemy within, shielded by prestige and power, can be more dangerous than any external threat. Loyalty is determined not just by nationality, but by beliefs, ideologies, and personal grievances. Second, it reveals the manipulation of ideology over loyalty. Blunt justified his actions by claiming communism was the sole counter to fascism. Yet his choices led to devastating consequences far beyond his initial intentions, showing that blind faith in an ideal can lead to ultimate betrayal. Finally, Blunt's story is a warning about trust and the consequences of betrayal. It reminds us that even the most respected individuals can harbor dark secrets. His legacy endures as a timeless reminder of the complexity of human nature and the danger of an enemy within our ranks.